Final Daily Quest video of the week as a reminder that we have a quiz on Friday, October 12th that is covering the content in these Daily Quest, which is probably today for most of you. So this is a good way to study and prepare before you start the quiz in a few minutes. Because the quiz is coming up, I am going to go a little bit quicker than I normally do. For the first example, once again, we have 2 1/3, and we need to draw equivalent fractions. Once again, reminding yourselves that if you notice that 2 1/3 is equal to 2 1/3, this is your first equivalent fraction. To draw the rest of the equivalent fractions, we need to change our fraction into something that is equivalent by multiplying the numerator and denominator by the same number. If I multiply them both by 2, I can create 2/6. If I multiply them both by 3, I could create 3/9. So let's draw in those fractions. By starting with the original fraction, I cut each of these into 2 equal boxes because I did times 2 and times 2. So that would be here. I now have 2/6. And for the bottom one, I'm going to do into 3 equal boxes because I did times 3 and times 3. Whoops. And there are our 3 equivalent fractions for this problem. Let's go to the next one. We are subtracting 1 1/2, or sorry, adding 1 1/2 and 2 2/3. In order to add fractions, we need to have a common denominator. Between halves and thirds, the smallest common denominator is 1/6. I can do that by multiplying both of these numbers times 3 and both of these numbers times 2. That would give me 1 3/6 plus 4/6. Now to add fractions together, I like to do improper fractions. So this would be equal to 9/6 because 1 whole is 6/6. Adding the 3 extras gives me 9/6. And then I add in 4/6. Added together is equal to 13/6. I could create 2 wholes, which would be equal to 12/6. And then there'd be 1/6 left over. Now let's draw our picture to match. Now I actually shortened this up by cutting up into 1/6 already. So now I need to draw in 1 3/6, and I'm going to shade that in red. So I have to shade 1 whole, and then 3 extra 1/6. Now I have to add 4/6, and I'm going to shade that in blue. So I'm going to start here. So I created my 2 wholes, and there is my 4/6, which gives me 2 wholes, 1 extra 1/6 left over, and our answers match, which means we've done it correctly. For the next problem, I have 3/4 times 5. And I'm going to do the fraction boxes method, and I'm going to do 5 groups of 3/4. And to speed it up, I have actually taken the pictures already, and I drew 3/4 5 times. Now I need to regroup these fractions to create as many whole numbers as possible. So I'm going to take this piece here. I'm going to move it up and to the right. So I'm going to try that. Getting a little bit of lag, but that's okay. So I'm going to move it up here. So I've created 1 whole number there. I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to move it down here. So I created another whole number. I'm going to take this piece. I'm going to move it right here. And that is every whole number that I can make. So I have 3 wholes and 1, 2, 3 fourths left over. The algorithm would be, I would do 3 fourths times, I'm going to say 5 over 1, which gives me 15 fourths, which if we made our whole numbers, that'd be 4, 8, 12, would give us 3 wholes. Whoops. And then 13, 14, 15 would be our extra 3 fourths left over. Our answers match, so we have done this problem correctly, and we have 1 left. For our last problem, we have 5 wholes, and we want to break that into 1/4. So we have 5 wholes broken up into fourths. So what I need to do is I need to draw my 5 wholes, which I already did, and I need to break it up into 1/4 chunks, and I need to figure out how many 1/4 chunks that'd be equal to. Well, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So the answer is 20, but you can write it out as there are 20 1/4 chunks in 5 wholes. The algorithm, we need to draw these both, or write these both as fractions, which would be 5 over 1 divided by 1/4. If we remember, the strategy for dividing is keep, change, flip. So we are going to keep the first fraction. We are going to change our problem to multiplying, and we're going to flip the second fraction, which creates 20 once, or 20 wholes, which is equal to 20. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know, and good luck on the quiz.